Today I'll be making samboosik with cheese, so the vegetarian version, and they normally sell at the shop. So my version is very simple. So I've actually crumbed the feta. So I've got 400 grams of feta. I've used the Greek style feta. Try not to use the Danish feta. It is great, a great feta to use, but this has it has more salt in it, and it's a lot heavier. It's not a really nice, soft, creamy texture. Danish feta is really great with like the Greek salads and all that. If you choose and all you've got in your fridge is a Danish, go ahead and use it. But I've used 400 grams roughly, so you can put a bit more or a bit less. But I got 400 grams of the feta. I've also got the Greek style feta. I've got also the mozzarella, 500 grams of the mozzarella, and that has been grated. And then we have over here the halloumi. So I've grated the halloumi as well, and that's only 225 grams. So whatever you can get in a little packet, that's okay. So they're the three cheeses. I'm also gonna add to this a teaspoon of the dry chili. I have a tablespoon of the basil and a tablespoon of oregano, a really large tablespoon, which I'll add to the mix. Now you can also add a tablespoon of, and these are dried parsley. If you don't have it, you can leave it out, but all you do, and this is the filling of the cheese, you'll mix it up so you can store it in the fridge for the next day, or when you purchase these, you can actually mix them up. If you prefer a lot more halloumi, you can add a little bit more halloumi, but whatever you don't use, you can freeze, but you keep mixing it, and this is the filling of your cheese samboosik. To make the dough, I always in your blender. So what we're doing is I'm trying in the mixer to get the flour in and knead it. So I'm just actually using a dough, the dough attachment. So you can do it by hand. I prefer to do it by machine. So I've got in here 1 kilo of plain flour. I've also got a teaspoon of salt, and what we do is we go in, so I'll just close it and just have it mixed slightly just with the salt. Then I'll open it up, and now I'll add the 1 cup of vegetable oil. It can be canola oil or any kind of oil that you actually use. I personally use the vegetable oil in most of my cooking, if it's not olive oil. But for this dough, I actually do use vegetable oil. So 1 cup of vegetable oil and 1.5 cups of warm water. The cup I did use was this cup, so it's roughly about 280 mils. So it was 1 cup of the oil was a 280, and I just did the same 1.5 of that particular cup as well of the warm water. So what I'll do is I'll now close it, now that I've put it all in there, and I'll keep mixing it until it combines and comes together. I've got it going on the medium speed, so you just keep going until it combines and it goes onto the attachment, doesn't come off, so it comes off as a ball. So I'll keep going at medium speed. You don't want to overwork the dough, so I'll just keep going until all the flour is combined with the liquid. Now this is 5 minutes. As you can tell, it just comes off as one piece. And it's taken all the flour and everything. So it's, all I do is I put it in a bowl, set it aside. So I floured my bowl, lightly floured, and I'll just now add it in and cover it with a clean towel, kitchen towel. So I'll cover it for about an hour to rest, because it had been kneading and I didn't overwork it. As soon as it combined, I completely stopped it. So no more than 5 minutes. as long as it comes off cleanly. So now this is ready to be used in the next step. Now that the dough has actually had time to rest, it does look like this. It's very soft. I just grab a little piece of floured, so just plain flour. I just floured my area. Make sure it's a clean area. Wipe down your area. I've got extra flour if I need it. So grab a small piece, your rolling pin, okay, and I would flour this. Even though it's dry, you just go over it so it doesn't stick, and then start rolling. You can do bigger pieces, it's up to you. I'm just going to move some of the flour over. I don't need as much. And roll it out as much as you can. When I'm satisfied with the how thin the dough has gotten, so I use my, I've got a cutter. You can use a lot of people use cups, so choose the relevant cup. So I just cut a piece, so it is still powdered, which is fine. You can choose whatever side you want to use. Because it's the cheese, I've got the filling here that I made earlier. So you grab it, center it, okay, and make sure you just grab it halfway and start to press the sides in. Make sure everything is inside. If you've got too much, take it out. Now once you've done that, normally a lot of people don't know how to twist it. They normally just use a fork on the outside, or they use a molder. So there's a mold machine. I normally just do twist, keep twisting. I'm not a professional at this, so I just keep twisting. I'm not checking what I'm doing, so I'm just keep twisting and twisting and twisting until I get to the very end. This is just the easy way for me to do it. And once I've done that, you can see how it's come. So they become the crunchy pieces once you fry it. It does turn out a lot nicer when it's fried, but this is what it ends up with. So make sure any tray that you have, make sure you put some flour, a little bit of flour underneath. Start to lay them flat on it, and then put it straight into the freezer to freeze it. You do need to freeze it. Then once it's frozen, I'd give it about 3 to 4 hours. Then I'll pull them apart and I'd put them in a bag and put them back in the freezer. Do not take them out and defrost them. You do actually need to leave them in the freezer. This is now ready for the freezer. You need to remember that you can fry on fresh. So if you want to fry it now, you can. You don't need to freeze it. The freezing part is if you don't want to use it now, or if you want to use it in a couple of hours. You don't want it to dry out before you fry. It's not a really nice crusty taste. So in order for it to still taste very fresh, I'd freeze it, or if you want to use it now, go ahead and you can fry.